Hello, welcome. I'm going to unbox a Sega Genesis 32X, really for no good reason, because it's a Sega's biggest falter, I'd say, and there's really not much to see here, but I wanted to unbox it anyway. I'm doing a week of Sega coverage, like I said in the Sega CD video, and I almost combined this with that video, but then I decided to split it, mostly because I wrote a lot in the blog post for this. So if you want to read more than what I'm going to say here, you can visit the Vault 1541 blog, which I'll leave a link to in the video description. So 32X released November 21st, 1994, which is the exact same time the Saturn was releasing in Japan, so I don't know what Sega was thinking. Saturn was not far off. In fact, it was less than a year away in the US. Nobody really knew that though, because Sega sprung it on everyone, including retailers, in the spring of '95. So if people knew that, I don't know if they would have bought this. Not that this sold a ton. I bought it because I bought everything Sega. I got a good deal on this, even though it was still overpriced really. I mean, I got it on sale and with an employee discount, but this cost $159.99 at launch. You can see on the box there's also a rebate offer for buying games. There's also a sticker on the box saying it doesn't work with the CDX, which is like the combo Genesis CD portable player, more or less. I mean, it's like a portable CD player. You still need a TV to play it, but it does work with that. You just need a piece that this does not include. It's just like a big block of plastic so that it'll sit properly. So the box has pictures of some of the games. Unfortunately, not many games released for this. Only 40 were made and 36 of those released in North America. There's screenshots all around the box. A lot of the games repeat though. Here you see Star Wars Arcade, Metalhead, Doom, and Virtua Racing Deluxe. You get a lot of the same games or similar versions of the games, I guess, on the Genesis. Like there's a Virtua Racing on Genesis. Yeah, maybe not these games, but there's also World Series Baseball. There's some original games, but it's not worth buying a 32X to play those games. Now this was really more designed, I think, with the second Genesis model in mind, for a few reasons. Partially the hookups, but I think part of that is also me being behind the times. I had an old TV, I'll get to that in a second. It just, I mean, they picture it with the second model Genesis and CD. It just looks better, I think. Adding it to the Model 1 stack, to me, looks funny, but anyway, let me open it up. There are tech specs on one of these sides. On this side, I don't know if they're worth really reading. It says it has two Hitachi 32-bit RISC processors running at 23 megahertz / 40 MIPS. If that means anything to you. I'm not really an expert on all that, but of course by today's standards it's slow. It does run cartridges, of course, not CDs like the Sega CD. So the manual, it's just a big fold-out sheet, not a nice booklet. Let's see here. I did scan some of this for the blog if you want to get a closer look, but I didn't scan the whole thing. It basically tells you what's in it and how to connect it to each type of Genesis, and then how to hook up various audio options. And you can see the picture here. All kinds of setups depending on the Genesis model, if you have the CD or not. So it comes with, of course, the unit, connector cable, conversion cable, audio video cable, AC adapter, spacer, and these electromagnetic shield plates. Now, some of these things, well, namely the conversion cable and the spacer, are only needed based on what unit you have. The conversion cable is needed for the Model 1 Genesis. Spacers needed for the second Genesis. And some more various instructions on operating it. It's connecting the sound depending on which setup you're using. Another big block AC adapter. These are the magnetic electromagnetic plates that are needed. They go into the Sega Genesis cartridge slot, which I guess I'll demo right now, which I have hooked up to the Sega CD. So what they do is they hook in here. I find them a bit of a pain. Of course, if you don't have the 32X plugged in once you do this, it will allow dust into the system. So the idea is to always have the 32X left plugged into it. And that's fine because the 32X works with most cartridges. It doesn't work with some. I've noticed my EA, Electronic Arts, old cartridges don't work. Those are a slightly different design. Okay, so you also get the audio video cable. It's only mono sound. And the conversion cable. And the unit itself. Just move this out of the way. So this is it. Not much to see. Cartridge slot and AV out, AV in, and adapter. So one goes into the Genesis, one goes into the outlet, the other goes to your TV. Problem with this though, another reason I was saying is designed more maybe for the Model 2 is that if you need an RF unit that works with this, you can use the one in the Genesis 2, but you cannot use the one with the Model 1. And when I got this, I did not have the proper hookup for my TV because my TV couldn't accept the cables it comes with. I needed a new style RF unit, and that would be this. But these were hard to find when I bought this. I don't know why. There was like a shortage of them. I couldn't find this for a long time, so even when I bought this, I had to wait a few weeks before I could actually use it. Which, you know, when you buy a new system, you're anxious to play it. That was pretty disappointing. The other thing I want to mention is the spacer. It comes already on the unit, and then you need it for the Model 2 Genesis. If you own a Model 1 and you don't realize it's attached, I mean, you see it in the manual, it's supposed to be in there, you don't see it, and you're like, oh well, it's not there, I don't need it. You plug it in, and it doesn't go all the way down. You may not even realize that, and you try to keep trying to use it, like I did, like an idiot. I don't know how many people this happened to. I know of one other that you might not initially realize what's going on. I mean, I eventually noticed, hey, there's a plastic piece here that comes right off. But it wasn't obvious at the time. It may have loosened a bit. You can tell there's wear on these just going in and out of the system. These are the metal contacts that touch these little plates you stick in the Genesis. But yeah, this spacer has to come off if you have a Model 1. I worked at a toy store at the time, and someone brought one back in asking if I knew something they didn't, and I did. I told them, well, you got to remove this. And yeah, that's exactly the problem they were having. So I guess it wasn't very clear to everybody, not just me. You know, I do have a copy of my receipt because I guess I printed a few extras when I did the rebate offer with the games. You can see here what I paid for on sale, like I said, for $149.99. Normally I get 10% off at the toy store I worked at on video games, 25% on toys, but my boss gave me an extra 10% off because he made up an Employee of the Month program and doubled the discount, even though it was unofficial and Toy Works, owned by KB, wasn't happy. They did notice. So anyway, I got 20% off $150, so not bad, but still disappointed that I bought it more or less years later. You can see here I bought the Star Wars game. That was $59.99. Of course, that is the same price most games cost today for, you know, PlayStation 4. So game prices really haven't changed in 20, what are we looking at here, 25 years? So we're pretty fortunate on the cost of the games, even though people complain about that and DLC, but DLC is really where the profits are coming from, though I don't ever buy that. Although you can see on the Bradley's receipt here, one of the games, I can't tell which one it is, it was $64.88, discounted to $48.88. So I don't know if Bradley's just overpriced it. I wouldn't think they would, but maybe there were differences in the prices of the games. My guess is that This one was Doom, maybe? Either way, games cost 60 and up at times. So, before I end this, because there's not much else to say about it, I'll just show you the few games I own. I only own 3 games. They came in cardboard boxes, unfortunately. They just slide out. Get the cartridge and the manual underneath. Manuals are not color, at least the ones I have are not. So it seems like a much cheaper production than, first run early Genesis games. And of course, the packaging kind of matches Genesis, Sega CD. They went with the stripes, only this one is like a yellow-orange. I also have Star Wars Arcade and Doom. Doom is M-rated though, so I'll never play it on this channel because family-friendly channel. I don't do M-rated games on here, but I might play the other 2 at some point. I don't love this version of World Series Baseball, though I don't own actually any of the other versions, surprisingly. I think I did rent the Genesis, one of them. But it's just, there's not many differences, and the kind of upgrades they went for, not necessarily better. Like, the big new thing is zoom in on diving catches, but yeah, if I recall, it kind of interrupts the gameplay when you gotta stand up and throw. I don't know. Just the enhancements they try to make aren't always for the better, so yeah, that was the 32X, one big disappointment. So, gonna end it here. Like I said, you can check out the blog for a bit more, and thanks for watching.